tribute to David Gold, who was a lifelong and ardent West Ham United supporter, and our condolences from everybody at BBC Radio 5 Live to his family and friends as Mark Noble walks off the pitch now with the Gold family. And now that we can concentrate on what is a vital game of football, and not necessarily easy then after such a tribute then for the players then to try and focus on a game of football.
Yeah, it'll be tough then. Obviously, like I said, it's been a very emotional time at the football club for everyone involved who knew the chairman, David Gold. But like I say, it's down to the football now. What a way to, the fans are up. You can tell there's a lot of passion in the crowd, and the players have got to show that. They've got to get off to a fast start, these West Ham players, and really take advantage of the raucous atmosphere here.
Yes, well, they are both inside the bottom three for what is a concertinaed situation down at the bottom, when you think that there are 7 teams just covered by 2 points. Nottingham Forest, of course, have just started to eat their way out of trouble. One of the form teams down there at the bottom. They take on Bournemouth today, Leicester City, Brighton, Southampton, Aston Villa. Liverpool, Chelsea has finished goalless. Coventry City 2, Norwich City 4 is how it finished in the Championship. So whilst we concentrate on the bottom end of the table in the Premier League today, until 5:30, where Newcastle United are at Crystal Palace, the first of the top 4 who are all in action, and you'll be able to listen as to how they fare on BBC Radio 5 Live this weekend, because our games tomorrow are Manchester City Wolves and Arsenal Manchester United. But here we are at the London Stadium, and West Ham United, cry of "Come on you Irons," are playing from left to right as we look in their claret shirts and sky blue shorts against an Everton side all in yellow. Fabianski is in goal for West Ham United. Again, Ogbonna and Zuma are the back 3. Sofal and Emerson are the wing backs. Paquetá, Rice, Bowen, Benrahma behind Antonio. So they have made 3 changes from the side that played Wolves. Zuma, Emerson and Benrahma coming into the side for Soucek, Cresswell and Fornals. Danny Ings, their new signing, is only on the bench. Supposedly David Moyes had said ahead of the game he didn't get him in early enough. For Everton, just the one change. Godfrey's tweaked his knee, so Mina replaces him. Pickford is in goal. Cody, Tarkowski and Mina the back 3. Coleman and Mikalenko the wing backs, with Gay, Onana and Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin and Damari Gray. As the ball is played out towards this near side. It's the usual Saturday goal service, although there are a number of postponements throughout the Football League. As here is Rice. Certainly James Collins, no shortage of vocal backing for both teams here in these early stages.
No, it's a tremendous atmosphere, Deno, and rightly so for such a big game. Nice start from West Ham. You can clearly see already that Everton are quite happy to sit in on the edge of their own box and let West Ham have possession, and they've done that in recent weeks. So already you can see we're going to expect West Ham to be on the front foot and have majority of the possession.
Benrahma's playing on the left of Antonio, Bowen to the right. Paquetá had just played a ball through, but it was overhit. They played out from the back. That wasn't the best of balls to Jordan Pickford, and Antonio just seemed to stop going for it. Everton have got away with one big time. I
think they both sort of stopped there now. It's a terrible ball across the Everton 6-yard box. Pickford doesn't know whether to come out and challenge Antonio. Antonio stopped, and you'd like to think if Antonio had a bit more urgency about him, it was a simple tap-in.
It was Pickford and Mina. The two of them are still squabbling, despite the fact that Mina is only just a few yards outside of the centre circle in the Everton half. All in yellow, playing from right to left. A breakdown in communication, and certainly a lucky escape for Everton at the back, as Mina passed it back towards Pickford, and as James Collins quite rightly says, both Antonio and Pickford both seemed to stop, and Everton were able to get the ball away. Zuma hits a long ball up towards Bowen. Tarkowski will head it. Cody helps out with a cushion header towards Tarkowski, who clatters the ball up towards Calvert-Lewin. He tries to lay it off towards Damari Gray. Damari Gray, who's playing on the left of Calvert-Lewin. Iwobi's advanced on the right-hand side. Emerson now has it over on that far side for West Ham United. who are certainly seeing a lot of the ball in these early stages.
Yeah, Declan Rice, you know, he's getting on the ball. He's massive for West Ham, obviously, the player he is, but you can see already, Dano, he's going to have a lot of time on the ball. He's almost playing like a quarterback. I know we've started only the opening minutes of the game, but you can see he's going to have a lot of possession and play those passes forward.
Again, it's forward ball. Bowen brought it down off the chest, and on the edge of the area then was unable to continue his forward momentum. He just stopped, the ball went away from him, and Everton have cleared the ball away. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service, to the London Stadium on a clear, bright afternoon in the capital for this vital game down at the bottom of the table. West Ham United against Everton. So wherever you are in the world, it's always a pleasure to have your company. We've got James Collins, the former Welsh international, who's alongside us here this afternoon. We've got the reporters out and about at the 3 other games in the Premier League at 3 o'clock, and also key games in the Championship, League One and League Two. 0-0 then here, no goals as yet anywhere across the country, as here is Declan Rice outside the centre circle in his own half, along the ground to Paquetá. Bowen is unable to hold on to the ball, and Tarkowski goes back towards Cody, and Cody plays it forward and picks out Iwobi. Iwobi across then to that far side, and Coleman plays it on the inside, and now Everton with Onana to Adrissagay. Mikolenko on this near side, the left, to Damari Gray, who takes over 30 yards out from goal. Everton probably for the first time in these opening 5 minutes have really had ventured into the West Ham United half. Iwobi is able to turn. No pressure from West Ham at this stage. Coleman now on that far side, the right, back with Onana, somebody who West Ham United were very keen to sign. In fact, I think, if I remember rightly, they'd agreed a fee for Onana, as Iwobi looking for Calvert-Lewin, and again is there to clear for West Ham United. Let's get an update from Leicester City Brighton. Pat Murphy.
0-0 at the moment, half a chance for Leicester though, after some cut and mouth. Pratt, a clever low cross to Vardy, just in time, it was deflected for a corner. Leicester 0, Brighton 0.
And Southampton, Aston Villa, Jonathan Overend.
Well, here as well, Ramsey with a penalty appeal as Bazunu rushed off his line, but it was waved away after a VAR check. No chances to speak of so far. It's tense. Southampton 0, Villa 0.
But it's tense at Bournemouth as well. Henry Moran.
Yeah, a couple of chances early on, one at either end. Gibbs White for Forest, got a good opportunity from the round about the penalty slot area. Good sprawling save from Neto in the Bournemouth goal, and new signing Otara breaking down the right for Bournemouth. He's just won a corner in the sunshine.
Match of the day tonight will be at 10:30. But in our featured game in League Two, it's a top of the table clash, second against top. Aaron Paul, you've had a goal.
6 minutes gone, Stevenage 1, Leyton Orient 0. This is really good work from Jamie Reid. The ball just lumped up high into the box. There was confusion amongst the Leyton Orient backline, and Reid nodded past Lawrence Vigouroux in the O's goal. Stevenage 1, Leyton Orient 0.
Stevenage unbeaten in 10. Before today, they were 5 points behind Richie Wellens' side. So Stevenage are leading by a goal to 0. No goals here between West Ham United and Everton. Here is Zuma to Sofal on this near side. Diagonal ball forward to Bowen. Bowen has overrun it. He's going to complain that he was nudged in the back, but the referee today said that there was no foul. That is Stuart Atwell. Barnsley are leading Accrington by a goal to 0 in League One. So at Oakwell, Barnsley 1, Accrington 0. As it's been quite a patient start here, James.
Yeah, both teams trying to, get touches of the ball. I know obviously there's a lot of nerves in both teams. Such a big game, halfway through the season. Talking as a 6-pointer, both managers under pressure. So rightly so, both teams having a little bit of possession, getting a little bit of confidence up, and trying to get, certainly the West Ham, trying to get their fans behind them. But like I say, a very tentative start from both.
Well, certainly Frank Lampard has already said that obviously Everton are relegation candidates. Very bright at school he was, Frank Lampard. 12 GCSEs at either A or A star. One of them was in Latin. So that relegation candidates would be relegatio candidatus. That was the fact of the day from Tony Livesey yesterday on Drive. Always good to get it out early on a Saturday afternoon.
I was going to say, you've gone early with that one, Deno.
Yeah. I'll go to...
I think it'd be a bit tricky to say the colder we got, to be honest, as well.
I'll go to top of the class there, even though I'm bottom of the table for fact of the day with Tony. So 8 minutes in, and it's still 0-0. And the ball played forward by Cody to Mykolenko. Gray's on the outside on the left. Mykolenko has gone ahead of him. Gray's shown on the inside by Sofal. His forward ball was looking to pick out the run of Calvert-Lewin. It's headed back towards Iwobi, who just seemed to lead with his arm there, and in fact that has been spotted, and it'll be a free kick to West Ham.
Yeah, first real cross into the box from Everton, and I was going to mention before, I think Kurt Zouma being back for West Ham. They've missed him in recent weeks, you know, such a big player, big signing for West Ham, very vocal on the pitch and demands stuff from these West Ham players, and he has been a miss. And even early on in this game, you can see he's talking, he's marshalling his back three, he's talking to his midfield. So I think Kurt Zouma being back with his leadership skills and his presence will be big for West Ham today. Yeah,
had a loan spell, of course, at Everton, 36 appearances and 2 goals in the 18-19 campaign. His last appearance was the 12th of November against Leicester City. So Zouma, welcome back for West Ham United today, who are 16 points worse off than the same stage last season. In fact, at halfway last season, West Ham were riding high 5th in the Premier League table. Now they're inside the bottom 3, along with Everton. Barnsley have got a second goal at home to Accrington. Barnsley 2, Accrington 0 is the latest score at Oakwell. But you can certainly feel the tension, and I think that's been reflected in this quite a tame opening 10 minutes. Yeah, you can, and you know it's the best thing for the players, you know, getting touches, getting your confidence up, but it's probably the worst thing for the fans. You feel like certainly the Everton boys, they're happy to knock it around the back three. It doesn't really look like they're going anywhere, but it's good for their mentality just to get on the ball, a little bit of confidence. The fans aren't happy, but he'll certainly be doing these players the world of good, just having touches on the ball. And of course, the longer that Everton do keep West Ham out, then there is the possibility for the West Ham player. Yeah, exactly. On the flip side, the West Ham fans will be thinking the West Ham players are not trying enough to close down. But like I say, it's such a big game, Deno. I've played in games like this. You know, you're just happy to get on the ball. It's easy in games like this as players, as coaches, just to hide, not to want the ball. You know, you need your big players out there. You know, confidence, getting on the ball, give me the ball, make things happen. So that's what both teams are trying to do early on. But you can totally understand the cagey start. Well, already you can just start to hear a few groans from the West Ham support. Calvert-Lewin has given the ball away to Paquetá. Bowen now picks it up, runs forward on this right-hand side. Bowen looking for the ball of Sofal, but it's too far ahead of him, and it peters out, and it's out for a goal kick. There's been a goal in the Championship. It's at Wigan. Katie Smith.
Wigan 0, Luton 1. A mistake, a really bad one on the edge of the D from Colker on his home debut. Gave the ball to Harry Cornick, who had free range of the area, shot it high above the keeper. Luton 1, Wigan 0.
There's been a goal in the Premier League. It's not at Southampton, it's not at Leicester City. We're going to Bournemouth. Henry Moran.
Where the score's Bournemouth 0, Nottingham Forest 1. A bit of a scramble after the free kick, dink to the back post, and eventually the header down and in from Ryan Yates. I spoke to one journalist here that said, let's hope Forest don't score an early goal. They've done just that. They lead 1-0.
One defeat in their last 6 in the Premier League, and Nottingham Forest are slowly but surely climbing away from trouble. West Ham United are attacking. Cross from the left-hand side, headed out by Tarkowski, picked up by Rice, back out towards Emerson on the left, driving forward down towards the byline. The cross was blocked, and another goal at Stevenage. Aaron Paul.
The hosts have a second. Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0. Bit of class from Jordan Roberts on this right side. He's cut in on his left foot and drilled the ball into the near corner of Lawrence Vigouroux's net. Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0.
Everton are attacking. Mykolenko collects the pass from Damari Gray, goes back on the inside to Gay. His diagonal ball for Iwobi. First touch just showed too much towards Declan Rice, who's cleared the ball away. Birmingham City 0, Preston 1. Preston, who've lost 4 of their last 5 in the Championship, are leading at St Andrews, and Stoke City are 1-0 up against Reading as well, also in the Championship. We're going to be going back to Bournemouth. Henry Moran.
As you were, 0-0, a very late VAR call for offside. The right decision though, and so relief all round for Bournemouth. It remains goalless.
So that Ryan Yates goal does not stand. Goalless at Bournemouth, no goals at Leicester City, Southampton or here between West Ham United and Everton. BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service. You may well be listening on BBC Sounds as well. Always the opportunity to take us with you wherever you go, as Mykolenko's forward ball is headed away by the West Ham defence. We've been playing for nearly a quarter of an hour. Everton now with Yerry Mina just forward of the centre circle. What have you made of the opening?
Yeah,
James?
it's Everton, certainly the last 4 or 5 minutes got into it. He was talking about them having possession and getting on the ball, but trying to make things happen. Damari Gray's coming into that little pocket, in between the West Ham back three and the midfield, and getting on the ball and getting turned. So yes, it's Everton have certainly started well, and you can sort of hear a few grumbles when Everton on the ball from these West Ham fans, so they'll be trying to do more and more that Everton as the game goes on. Yeah,
well, both sides are desperately out of form. Everton 9 without a win in all competitions since they beat Crystal Palace 3-0 on the 22nd of October. And for West Ham United, they've only collected 1 point out of a possible 21 in the Premier League. It was a rare high point beating Brentford in the Cup, 1 win in 8 in all competitions. So as the ball goes back to Pickford away towards our right, all in orange, his diagonal ball towards Mykolenko, keeps the ball in play, back towards Tarkowski. Gay on the inside now towards Onana, and manages to an outstretched right leg to pass the ball into the path of Iwobi, and Onana then makes a run on the right of him over the halfway line, but in a very methodical way. They're just slowly but surely advancing. There's not a great deal of pace. They're not wanting maybe to overcommit as the ball is forward now towards Iwobi, to Mykolenko on the overlap, and it's a low ball that is kept in, and a corner kick. Derby 1, Bolton 0 is the latest score in League One, but Everton have got a corner.
Yeah, better from Everton. Like I said, they weren't going forward at any great pace, but again, keeping possession, got into a nice position for a cross, and Zuma's come across and dealt with it well. But certainly, you talked about the Everton fans before the game. They've showed, they're cheering the team on, they're supporting them. They've cheered this corner, so the fans are certainly behind the players here today.
And it's a great support as well that has travelled down from Merseyside. Corner kick for Everton, left-hand side, goes towards the far post. Header out by Agard, the Moroccan international. Almost like there's two banks of Everton support because of the way that they're split with the giant screen. Iwobi with a cross, hasn't been dealt with. Handball, unable to be.
Certainly looked like handball from here to me, Dano. Ogbono, I think, might have slipped at the front stick. The Everton players are convinced it's handball. My first reaction was, I think it's hit his arm. He slipped over and sort of put his arm out.
VAR will have a look at that. The Andre Mariners, the VAR. The ball was from Iwobi that was just in, and Ogbono did slip, and VAR will be having a look at it. Ooh.
I think because he slipped, his arm is in that position. It's been waved on, but it certainly hit his arm. I think he slipped and he's sort of down at a lower level, and the ball has definitely struck his shoulder, arm, but now let's play on, no penalty.
VAR will have had a look at it and has dismissed it, and as the goal kick is taken by Fabianski, the clearance for West Ham United. Gay heads it forward towards Calvert-Lewin, comes back towards Gay, inside the centre circle, out towards Damari Gray. Mykolenko looking to get forward at every opportunity, it seems, on this near side, the left. Mykolenko then held up by Sofal towards Damari Gray once again. Damari Gray just in from the left touchline, plays the ball back. Every outfield player is in the West Ham United half away towards our left-hand side. And Yerry Mina back now to Cody. He goes square to Tarkowski, back into the centre circle for Cody. Antonio runs towards him. Cody gives the ball away towards Declan Rice, feeds it now towards Bowen. In behind Mykolenko. Tarkowski has to cover. Tarkowski with a trailing leg puts the ball out of play for a throw. And at St Andrews, Birmingham City, who've lost their last 4 in the Championship, have now conceded a second. Birmingham City 0, Preston North End 2. But it's a throw to West Ham United for what has been quite a cagey 17 minutes so far.
Yeah, it looks like West Ham are they've got Sofal this closer side. They've sent their centre halves forward. Angelo Ogbonna, Kurt Zouma have gone forward, expecting the long throw into the box.
And here it comes from Sofal, and cleared away. Now they will appeal for handball, but that was quickly waved away by Stuart Atwell, the referee. And then Agard at the back to Fabianski.
That's disappointing, Denner. West Ham got a real opportunity down in the Everton final third with a throw in. They've just launched it into the box as a throw in, sent the centre halves up, and 5 seconds later we've ended up back at Fabianski. They should be taking advantage of those situations, keeping the ball in play, putting Everton under pressure.
Benrahma was just simply out-muscled there whilst James was talking, and now Zouma has committed himself, and ducking away from him was Damari Gray. But to credit Paquetá, he got back left corner of the area to get a block challenge in, diverts the ball behind away for a corner. Sheffield Wednesday, incidentally, who've won their last 4, are leading at home to Fleetwood by a 1-0, but Everton corner kick.
See Zuma bending down, pretending to tie his shoelaces up like he's tripped himself. Oh, I think he's generally lost his footing and fallen over, but he's clever play from Zuma, trying to make the whole crowd think he's stood on his laces.
One of the tricks of the trade. Corner kick then to Everton, again on this near side to left. Damari Gray to take it. There are 5 yellow shirts waiting inside the penalty area. Goes to one of them, it was Tarkovsky. Might drop towards Mikolenko. Stooping to head the ball away was Bowen. Picked up by Gay for Everton. Out towards Gray on this near side. Sofal tight behind him. Back towards Gay it goes. Alloa 1, Falkirk 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Cup. Ball over the top, 1 bounce, and it's away from Mikolenko. You can see why these two sides are struggling for goals.
Yeah, you can. There's been nothing in the final third really for either team. Both teams quite happy to sit off and let the other team have possession. So certainly the quality in the final third needs to up.
West Ham United now are attacking. Benrahma on that left-hand side, level the area, drills it in towards Antonio, tries to spin away off Conor Cody as Everton get the ball up towards Calvert-Lewin. A goal at Vicarage Road. Lee Blakeman.
Watford 0, Rotherham 1. Shot from the left, well saved by Backman, but Ferguson was on hand to bury the rebound. Watford 0, Rotherham 1.
Damari Gray attacking, enters the penalty area, just held up enough by a tumbling Kurt Zuma.
Iwobi was in acres of space at the back stick as well. If he could just get his head up, play the early ball, Iwobi was pretty much on his own on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Frank Lampard with a beanie hat, marching around in his technical area against his football. Both managers, of course, against their former clubs, but Frank Lampard, 186 games and 38 goals here for West Ham United before he moved on to Chelsea in 2001. And David Moyes, who did a wonderful job in his spell as manager, 518 games, top 8 Premier League finishes in his last 7 seasons at Everton. How the Evertonians would welcome a return to those days. But it's 0-0.
Quite wise the hat from Frank Lampard. I feel he's not best liked around these areas anymore.
Iwobi with a cross from the right, header out by Ogbonna, only as far as Onana. Picks it up towards Iwobi, tried to hit the first time cross from the right, was blocked. Iwobi though still has the ball, helped out by Coleman. Coleman with his back to the penalty area, level with the box. Iwobi chips the ball in towards Calvert-Lewin, and it's knocked up by Aguerd rather than away, and still he hasn't dealt with it, and eventually the Moroccan just lifts it out for a throw.
It's a bit like my defending that. Then just kick it up in the air and hope someone else deals with it. But yeah, a little bit sloppy from West Ham. Ball into the box from Everton and not dealt with at all, not convincingly anyway.
I'm not having that, by the way. That's one of your defending. That's more like mine maybe, but definitely not yours.
I would have headed it into the top row of the stand. It's pretty much what all I did.
Barnsley 3, Accrington 0 is a latest score, and there's a stoppage here. Ogbonna is the player who has gone down, so it means we've got an opportunity to go to Leicester City against Brighton and Hove Albion. Pat Murphy.
It's still 0-0, but Brighton might have sneaked one just now. Wicked in-swinging corner. Ward couldn't claim it. Claimed he'd been obstructed. Van Herke, the big centre-back, up for it. Just headed over the bar. I think he might have felt he should have done better from 6 yards out. Leicester 0, Brighton 0.
And we'll go to Bournemouth now and Henry Moran.
Just past the midway point in the first half, still 0-0. That disallowed goal from Ryan Yates, as close as we have come. Forest have been the better of the two sides. Chris Wood is acting as a really good focal point, leading the line for them. 24 minutes gone. It remains Bournemouth 0, Forest 0.
Southampton, Aston Villa, Jonathan Overend.
Chance! And do Southampton take the lead? No, the offside flag is up, and Kyle Walker-Peters was the unlikely person to stab it in over the line after a scramble. Shea Adams was in there as well. It'll obviously be checked, but the flag is raised, and as things stand, the goal has been chalked off. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0, but that's the closest we've come.
Thank you, Jonathan. We had that goal chalked off at Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth against Forest, where Forest thought they'd taken the lead 0-0 here. Just to confirm as well, Farhad Mashiri is here today, as are other representation from the Everton board. So Mashiri's presence will be the first time in 18 months that the major shareholder has attended an Everton game. Bill Kenwright, Denise Baxendale and Graham Sharp, of course, who were told to stay away for their own safety from Goodison Park last weekend against Southampton, have all attended this game here at the London Stadium. But certainly the presence of Farhad Mashiri will be the one that will generate the most attention. It's still 0-0. You haven't missed anything whilst we've been away. Plymouth, though, are leading Cheltenham by 1-0. The leaders of League One, 1-0 up at home park. We'll bring you news of that goal when we can from John Akers, and there are no other goals to tell you about. It's goalless, though, here, as the ball is played forward. Onana towards Calvert-Lewin, holds it up, then comes back towards Onana, 10 yards forward of the centre circle. You can hear the anxiety levels are just starting to increase from the West Ham support.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing from West Ham. They almost sat back, camped on the edge of their own box, happy for Everton to have the ball. I mean, it's a big game. You're at home in front of your own fans. There should be a lot more urgency to press the Everton players. They'll be nervous as well, make mistakes, but West Ham are just camped in their own half at the minute, happy to concede possession to Everton.
Yeah, it feels very safe from both sides. Let's get an update from Wigan Luton. Katie Smith.
Oh, so almost an equaliser for the home side. It's Wigan 0, Luton 1. It was a long ball played into the area, plumb onto the head of Ashley Fletcher, who got it past the keeper, but the flag went up. Wigan, as it stands, still bottom of the table. Wigan 0, Luton 1.
Queen's Park Rangers 1, Swansea City 0. The crowd are starting to turn here. The West Ham supporters already. They're just, those dissenting voices are certainly increasing. Cardiff 0, Millwall 1, and a goal at Leicester City. Pat Murphy.
It's gone to Brighton, and what a beauty from Keru Mitoma. What a classy, interesting Japanese winger this lad is. Cut inside on his favoured right foot, marking not good enough, 20 yards out. Ward helpless in the Leicester goal. Cracking goal for Mitoma. Leicester 0, Brighton 1.
So Millwall are leading at Cardiff by a 1-0. No win in 8 in the Championship. Dean Whitehead is their interim manager. Brighton then leading at Leicester City. Told you about that goal for the leaders Plymouth. News of it from John Akers.
They've got another one, Ian. It's 2-0, 2 in 2 minutes for the League One leaders. The second one for Ryan Hardy after Dan scored the first. Cheltenham just switched off. Argyle 2, Cheltenham 0.
In the Scottish Cup, Motherwell are leading at Arbroath. Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1 is a latest score. Further groans here by the West Ham support, but they win the ball back. So foul, they go back. You can see that both sides, particularly the West Ham players, actually, they're lacking confidence, or it seems that they're lacking confidence.
They are. The first pass is either side. When they do win the ball back, which hasn't been a lot this first half because they're happy for Everton to have the ball, the passes are sideways, they're slow pace, or they're backwards. There's no real urgency to get the ball forward and get the fans back inside, because there's no doubt about it, Deno. They are turning. There's starting to be boos, going back again. The fans are getting, they're really unhappy.
Yeah, they are. 25 minutes I made really, you could feel a real turning point with the support. Still 0-0. We thought we'd had a goal earlier at Bournemouth with Nottingham Forest. I'm told you might now have another one. Henry Moran.
We've got a goal for Bournemouth. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. It's the 4th of the season for Jayden Anthony. Lovely work down the right-hand side. And eventually a shot across Wayne Hennessy into the bottom corner. And what a much-needed goal that is. Bournemouth 1, Forest 0.
Much needed indeed. 6 straight defeats for Gary O'Neill, who'd done ever so well when he was the caretaker, but since he's been appointed as the permanent manager, actually yet to win. I told you that Millwall were leading at Cardiff. James Collins' former club. Laura Kenyon will give us details of it.
Yeah, Cardiff 0, Millwall 1, and it's Tom Bradshaw with his 7th of the season. Put it through the legs of Brian Alsop in the Cardiff goal. Poor defending in the build-up. Cardiff 0, Millwall 1.
Well, out of nothing, West Ham United have just created the best opportunity of the game so far. It was Ben Rama, just received the ball from Antonio, one little touch, right-footed, and it was a strong arm by Pickford to tip it over. James?
Yeah, great chance for West Ham. I thought Ben Rama was going to hit it first time on the edge of the box. He's taken his touch, and footballers, they call it the wobbler, where you hit it with the laces and it sort of moves, and Pickford's going the one way and done well to get back back the other way and get a strong arm on it, but better from West Ham.
28 minutes, first real chance in the game. Bowen with the corner kick. It's an in-swinger, headed up rather than away. Pickford looked a little bit impeded there on his goal line. He managed to get something on it. West Ham United, though, are still threatening on that left-hand side. Everton have got a lot of yellow shirts in their own penalty area. Antonio's low ball, and it's swept away by Mina towards Iwobi. Back it then goes to Coleman, who lifts it long, but there's no out ball there for Everton, and so Fowl will head it back. A little flick header then by Ogbonna. Antonio trying to get there, and then Mina lifts it away to safety once again for Everton. West Ham, though, pick up that loose ball with Declan Rice. Didn't have any options ahead of him. Bowen was quite central. There was nobody out on the right-hand side, and now it's back with Rice once again. But the crowd are urging West Ham to come forward. We're approaching the half hour here on 5 Live Sport. Antonio out to Sofal, back towards Antonio with a cutback, edge of the area, just stepping out, tucked in was Coleman, and Coleman now for a searching ball over the top. Zuma will get there before Damari Gray, and West Ham United will build from the back.
That position there, Dano, is perfect. West Ham got to the byline. Mikel Antonio, you need your midfielder breaking into the box. You need Paqueta or Declan Rice to be in that area, you know, a penalty spot here with the balls cut back to, and unfortunately they won't.
Declan Rice from long range, to shoot, doesn't. Paquetá will shoot, right-footed, low, blocked by Cody. Comes back out to the Brazilian international. West Ham United's best spell of the game so far, still 0-0. Sofal does a little step over, right-hand side level of the area, back towards Paquetá. West Ham go back towards Zuma. Can they keep that momentum going, though? Forest Green lead MK Dons by a goal to 0. No win in 5, bottom of the table of League One, but they are ahead there. Forest Green 1, MK Dons 0. Rice coming forward on that far side, the left. Down towards the corner flag he goes. He's got a little bit of support from Emerson. They play it back towards Benrahma. Benrahma's cross is charged down, and West Ham United will go back, and we will go to, I think it was Southampton Aston Villa. Jonathan Overend.
Still 0-0 here, but Villa's best moment of the match so far. It was a double chance on the counter-attack. Ramsey's shot was well saved by Bazunu. Bailey blasted the rebound over the bar from close range. Southampton 0, Villa 0.
Well, by far this is the best spell for the home side. West Ham United against Everton, still goalless here on 5 Live. Benrahma and Emerson trying to link together. Everton, though, managed to break up that attack. Onana then gives it away. You can certainly hear the crowd's response.
Yeah, the crowd have got up because West Ham have kept the ball in Everton's final third and kept pressure on them.
Bowen slips it out towards Sofal. First time cross, comes off the legs of a sliding Tarkowski, and then Onana will shield the ball away from Sofal. Mikolenko waits for to settle, goes down the left touchline towards Damari Gray, dinks the ball in field towards Onana, who chips it in the air towards Coleman, loses out in that aerial challenge to Emerson, finds Benrahma, back out towards the left for Emerson, low ball in behind Antonio, cleared by Tarkowski.
Yeah,
with the pressures now coming from West Ham.
From West Ham. The ball, Everton are trying to clear the ball, and West Ham are picking up the seconds, keeping the ball alive, keeping the ball in the box. Like I said, Everton are a team that are lacking confidence. You know, you've got to put pressure on them if you're this West Ham team.
West Ham with a throw on the left-hand side. Benrahma back to Emerson. His cross is charged down. Appeals for handball, waved away. Gaze forward ball. Damari Gray lets it run through to Calvert-Lewin. And Calvert-Lewin really has to fight all on his lonesome. He was there against at least 4, maybe even 5 West Ham players. There was no way he's going to hold on to the ball.
He did well initially. He got the ball in and kept it, but he's on his own. There's not another Everton player around him for probably 30-40 yards. You know, if they keep doing that, hoping Dominic Calvert-Lewin can hold the ball up, he's going to be waiting 3-4 minutes for an Everton player to get anywhere near him.
That's the voice of James Collins. 214 appearances and 9 goals in his 2 spells for West Ham United in his career. West Ham United here at home to Everton on BBC Radio 5 Live. We've got Crystal Palace Newcastle United to come at 5:30 later on today. Then it'll be 6:06 after Sports Report with the results and the reaction. And for 5 Live, Premier League Sunday from midday tomorrow, Manchester City Wolves, and then Arsenal Manchester United. John Murray and Matt Upson will bring you commentary of that one from the Emirates. So the top 4 all on 5 Live this weekend. Rice threads the ball through to Bowen, right hand side of the penalty area. Bowen with a cutback, strikes the knees of Tarkowski, runs behind for a corner kick. they're now starting to ask questions.
Yeah, much better. The fans are back on side. That's all it's taken, you know. Keep the ball alive, keep the ball in the Everton box for the fans to get back on side and give this West Ham team a bit of support. And like I say, it's their second corner, but this was huge for David Moyes last year, these set plays, and they haven't quite been at it already this season.
Bowen takes it short. Paquetá out towards Sofal. Sofal back into the penalty area. Not much elevation on that ball back in, and Yerry Mina was able to head it easily out. Emerson swings over the cross. The ball's prodded in from close range by Jarrod Bowen. And the flag has stayed down, and West Ham United have got the goal that their play in the last 5 minutes deserves. Bowen couldn't miss, stabbed it in. West Ham 1, Everton 0.
Just what I was talking about, Deno, keeping the ball alive. I thought the chance had gone. They got a corner, they played it short, they ended up back outside the box. They put the ball in and kept the ball alive, and there's a cross into the box. Everton defenders have gone up to challenge, and it's broken. It's fallen to Jarrod Bowen. Literally stood on his own on the 6-yard box and has told it into the net. Like you say, deserved it from the last 5 minutes from West Ham.
It certainly is. It had been coming, and Pickford, who was rooted onto his goal line. VAR, though, are checking for a possible offside. Certainly when the initial ball came in, Conor Cody was playing everybody on then, so they'll be looking for the flick on from
Zuma to Bowen, but looking at it from the off, it looked fine to me.
Yeah.
Both Everton centre-halves have been sucked into the cross to try and challenge Zuma. He's got up highest, flicked it down, and for me it's tight.
That is tight, and in fact
it's going to go on Tarkowski's length of his shirt, or where he's.
There's a trailing leg from Tarkowski. Antonio is clearly in an offside position, but he's not interfering with play. It's the run from Jarrod Bowen, but this will go down to the fine margins, because I think there's the Tarkowski trailing leg, and the goal stands. And it was that trailing leg from Tarkowski that ultimately has played Bowen onside.
Yeah, going back to it, Zuma's done really well, as I said. Cody and Tarkowski have been sucked into Zuma, both going for the same ball, and Zuma's got above them both and nodded it down, and Jarrod Bowen's got the easy task of knocking it into the net from pretty much the 6-yard line.
12 games without a goal, unlucky 13 as far as Everton are concerned, and it now means his last 9 goals have all come at home for West Ham United. So Jarrod Bowen takes his tally to 6 for the season. They're 1-0 up, and there's been another goal at Leicester City. Pat Murphy.
Equaliser for Leicester City from Mark Albrighton. He's just come on as a sub for the injured Pratt. 2 shots blocked, desperate coming from Brighton, but a right foot shot from Albrighton made it 10 yards out. Leicester 1, Brighton 1.
Colchester United have won their last 3, are trailing at home to Gillingham. Colchester 0, Gillingham 1 is the latest score in League 2. Oxford United are leading Ipswich Town by a goal to 0 in League 1, and also in that division Shrewsbury are leading Cambridge by a goal to 0. West Ham United, though, are 1-0 up here against Everton. Bournemouth are leading Nottingham Forest 1-0, and as we've heard from Pat, it's Leicester City 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Southampton Villa remains 0-0. West Ham attacking, cross towards Antonio at the far post, and he heads it away from goal. It was almost like a headed cross from Antonio, and it goes behind for a corner kick.
He's got a head for goal, Deno. He's on the edge right on the edge of the 6-yard box, right on the point. If he heads it back across goal, I think he's gone to nod it back into the area for Bowen, but I think if he heads at goal here, Pickford could do anything, and he could palm it out back into the 6-yard box for a tap in, but he's sort of done nothing. He's sort of in between heading it across goal and heading it for goal.
And judging by Bowen's reaction, I think he was expecting him to go at goal as well, because he was so flat-footed he could only helplessly watch it go out, and then it was turned behind for a corner. In that in-swinging corner comes in now, headed out by Yerry Mina, 6 yards out, headed back by Emerson, and caught by Jordan Pickford. So it's only 3 clean sheets now in 20 for Jordan Pickford with that West Ham United goal, and Jarrod Bowen with the all-important breakthrough in this vital game down at the bottom of the table. Plymouth 2, Cheltenham 1 is a latest score in our featured game in League 1 as Everton can actually take West Ham United out of the bottom three. When you've only got 7 clubs separated by 2 points, there's always going to be a lot of movement, but it'll be Wolverhampton Wanderers who will drop inside the relegation zone as it stays like this at the moment. As the ball goes back to Cody, to Onana, able to turn to Gay now on the halfway line. Again, West Ham reluctant to go towards the ball. There's no pressure on the ball at this stage. Iwobi now in field. Onana back towards Tarkowski. West Ham have retreated. They have every player back behind the ball as Cody curls it out to Mikalenko, inside to Iwobi. Ipswich have equalised at Oxford. Oxford United 1, Ipswich 1. They weren't behind for long, only 4 minutes. Cody passes the ball towards the right-hand side, just in from the touchline to Coleman. Back with Yerry Mina, he's on the halfway line. Now he goes back to Cody. Tarkowski is available. Tarkowski back towards Cody, and ever so slightly Everton are dropping further and further back.
Yeah, you've got to say West Ham have defended it well. I mentioned it, they were camped in, but when the ball does go back, or there's a side pass from the Everton players, you can see Declan Rice, Kurt Zouma squeezing this West Ham team up the pitch, which is forcing Everton back.
Let's get news of that Cheltenham goal, shall we, from John Akers.
It's a really nice finish. On loan, left foot, Taylor Perry on loan from Wolves, smashes it past Cooper in the Argyle goal. It's interesting now, Plymouth 2, Cheltenham 1.
Everton trailing by 1-0 are in the West Ham United half, with Coleman just in from the right touchline to Calvert-Lewin, who was quickly challenged by Ogbonna. We're going to go to Bournemouth now. Henry Moran.
Bournemouth 1, Forest 0. Should have been a second for Bournemouth though. Cross in, Ryan Christie, free header from 7 or so yards out, and he planted it just wide of the far post. Bournemouth 1, Forest 0.
Leicester City 1, Brighton 1, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0. Commentary to come from Selhurst Park, Palace and Newcastle United. Everton trailing, lose the ball over on that right-hand side. Onana's headed the ball back forward towards Yerry Mina, midway through the West Ham half. Mina now plays the ball towards Coleman, almost at a standstill, level with the penalty area. And now it was Calvert-Lewin who was midway through his own half. Eventually they find Iwobi. Iwobi to Mikalenko, just 6 yards in from the left touchline, looking for the return ball from Damari Gray. Mikalenko swings over the cross, headed out by Ogbonna. Onana is able to take it away from Sofal, and Everton still have it. Iwobi towards Damari Gray, helped out by Gay, back inside towards Iwobi, just outside the D, looking to turn, and then as he switched it towards the left, the interception from Paquetá ricochets towards Bowen. He feeds the ball forward towards Antonio, sliding in was Tarkowski, didn't get there. Antonio wriggles away, Tarkowski dives back in, back towards Bowen, and Bowen has got a second goal. Bowen arriving inside the 6-yard area from close range. Bowen gets his second and increases West Ham United's lead. That now gives them a vital cushion in such a vital game. 2-0 West Ham.
It's brilliant from Jared Bowen and Mikel Antonio. Frank Lampard is going to be furious though. Everton had the ball around the edge of West Ham's box, keeping possession, I said, but really not doing anything. One sloppy pass into Jared Bowen, West Ham away. Mikel Antonio does ever so well down the right hand side. Poor challenge comes in from Tarkowski, doesn't win the ball, lets Mikel Antonio run into the Everton box. I think he's a little bit lucky with the deflected cross into the box, but Jared Bowen's made up 30-40 yards to get on the end of it, and again similar position to the first goal, tapped it in on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Jared Bowen now with 2 goals in the space of 7 minutes, and West Ham United have a cushion. They lead by 2-0. Now Southampton Aston Villa. Jonathan Overend, bring us up to date. I'm told the players are off the pitch.
The players have left the field with 4 minutes till half-time. 0-0 the score. There is a drone hovering above the stadium, and the referee halted play as Villa had a free kick just outside the penalty area, brought the captains together first of all, then took the players off the pitch. Then there was an announcement saying the players had left for their own safety. So clearly they're dealing with this, and then hopefully we get the match resumed. Still 0-0.
Thank you, Jonathan. Leicester 1, Brighton 1, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Tarkowski, actually, when you look back at it, he dived in twice, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a terrible effort from Tarkowski. That might not be right, but you've either got to make the tackle and win the ball, or bring back Antonio down. You know, his team are on the break, they're struggling for numbers to defend, and he's done neither. It's a poor challenge, slid in, missed the ball, missed the player, and Mikel Antonio's run the ball on another 30 yards towards Everton goal and put it across the box.
Forest Green 1, MK Dons 1. Cross for Everton gets diverted behind for a corner kick on that right hand side, so MK Dons have equalised at bottom of the table. Forest Green in League One. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds in the World Service. In the Scottish Cup, it's Partick 0, Dunfermline 1. Earlier, Celtic beat Greenock Morton 5-0. We'll have news of St Johnstone Rangers at 5:30 for you here on 5 Live. But Everton badly need a way back into the game. Corner kick right hand side, it's an outswinger. Onana was up there, comes out towards Mikolenko, lifts it goalwards, headed out only as far as Iwobi, and Iwobi hits the base of the left hand post. Took it down ever so well, right footed shot, took a deflection and onto the post.
Yeah, Everton corner, they've done what West Ham have been doing. They've kept the ball alive, put it back into the box, and it's dropped to Iwobi maybe 10-12 yards out onto his right foot. I think it's actually it's a good block from Declan Rice to put it onto his own post, but a little bit too easy for me there for West Ham. The ball's dropped in the middle of the 6-yard box from a corner, and there's no one around him. I think Declan Rice has done really well to get a block on it in the end.
So it's going to be a corner kick for Everton. We're in the last 60 seconds of this first half, and they're trailing by 2-0. Now, Stuart Atwell, the referee, has spotted something inside the penalty area, so he's not letting the corner kick be taken. Instead, he's marched over and he's gone face to face with Ogbonna, and he's had words with the West Ham United central defender. So the last 30 seconds of normal time. Everton badly need a way back into the game. Corner kick, in it goes, headed out by Declan Rice to Mikolenko, back towards Damari Gray. Mikolenko, first time cross, swings it over, that flags up on the far side, so there'll be a free kick to West Ham United. Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0 was the last time we heard from Aaron Paul, but now a player sent off. Aaron.
Yeah, Idris El Mazouni of Leyton Orient is on fast train, coming together with Jordan Roberts. 2 yellows makes a red, and it means a bit more problems for Richie Wellens of Leyton Orient. Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0. We're on the cusp of half time.
Yeah, they're going to see their lead at the top certainly cut, with Stevenage leading there to 2 points in the Scottish Cup. Dundee United are leading the University of Stirling by a 1-0. That's at Tannadice, and it's Alloa 1, Falkirk 1 is another latest score as well. But here is we're into stoppage time, where there's going to be a minimum of 2 minutes to be added on. Those 2 goals from Jared Bowen have certainly transformed the atmosphere here at the London Stadium.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's the beauty about these fans. You know, we spoke about it in commentary just before they got the first goal. The fans were sort of starting to get on the West Ham back, and there was a couple of boos ringing out in the stadium, but just a bit of positive play, you know, running or keeping the ball in the box has changed the whole mood, and West Ham have found themselves in a 2-0 lead, and deservedly so. You know, you're looking at these Everton players already, you know, they look dejected, they're sort of keeping the ball, but not with any purpose.
Well, here is Calvert-Lewin looking towards Damari Gray, and it required a guard to get there, and his diving challenge guides the ball behind for a corner kick from Calvert-Lewin, looking for the supporting run of Damari Gray in the inside left channel of the penalty area. So in stoppage time here in the first half, under the clear blue skies, where West Ham United lead by 2-0, it's Everton who have the corner kick. West Ham have got everybody back. Damari Gray to take it. In it comes now. Fabianski was under a lot of pressure there. Goes out all the way towards the far side. Antonio will pick it up, and Antonio now looking for a very ambitious diagonal ball. It almost, with a couple of ricochets, fell towards Benrahma. On the half-time whistle, David Moyes turns on his heels and sprints towards the tunnel. He undoubtedly is the happier of the 2 managers. His side lead by 2-0. We had to wait till just before the half hour for a first real effort on goal. Pickford tipped it over from Benrahma. Bowen has got 2 close-range goals, and Iwobi's hit a post for Everton. James Collins.
Yeah, David Moyes is going to be absolutely delighted. As I said, a high-pressure game for both clubs coming into this. We spoke about it in commentary, very tentative start from both teams, but just a bit more urgency from West Ham. They could feel the crowd sort of turning a little bit on them, and they upped it. You could see David Moyes down on the touchline barking orders at his player to a bit more urgency, a bit more pace to the game, and they did that. And they got the goal. Ball into the box. Zuma's done well, knocked it down to Gerard Bowen, he's tapped it in, and then again you've got to say from Tarkowski, it's not great defending at all for the second goal, but what West Ham deserve, a bit of urgency, getting forward, playing in Everton's final third.
Thank you, James. Certainly work to do for Everton. Half-time then at the London Stadium. West Ham United 2, Everton 0.
Gillingham signed Tom Nichols from Crawley during this transfer window to try and jumpstart their season. He scored for them at Colchester, and Neil Harris's side lead by 2-0. What is going on at St Mary's? Jonathan Overend.
Well, not much. It's 0-0. The players have been off the field of play now for getting on for 10 minutes. There has just been an announcement to say that the players are about to come back on, but as yet no sign. A reminder that they were... Oh no, here they come. That's good. Ashley Young leads the way. Back they come. We've got 4 minutes to play in this first half, and the match will restart with an Aston Villa free kick in a very dangerous position. A reminder, they were taken off the pitch after the referee brought both captains together and was pointing to the sky. A lot of confusion initially, and then an announcement that a drone had been spotted above the stadium and the players have been taken off for their own safety. But anyway, back they come, and we've got 4 minutes plus stoppage time to play, and as I say, we will resume with this Aston Villa free kick.
OK, be back with you shortly then. Half-time at the King Power. Pat Murphy.
Leicester 1, Brighton 1. Brighton were good value for the early lead, courtesy of Keiron Mitoma, the Japanese winger. Lovely goal. Poor marking, not tight enough on him, but a tremendous finish from 20 yards. And then old Brighton came on for Leicester as a substitute. Within 4 minutes it equalised. Tielemans' shot blocked by Sanchez, the keeper. A good finish by old Brighton. They're the more cohesive outfit, Brighton. I fancy they may well nick this because they look as if they know exactly what they're doing. Leicester 1, Brighton 1.
All square there. Bournemouth lead at the break. Henry.
Bournemouth 1, Forest 0. Bournemouth, they've lost the last 5 in the league, but they do lead thanks to Jayden Anthony's cool finish past Wayne Hennessy just before the half hour. They were rather sparked into life when Forest thought they'd taken the lead through Ryan Yates' header, but a VAR call for offside spared Bournemouth. Yes, they've looked vulnerable, particularly from set pieces, but the hosts, decent value for their lead. Moore and Christie missing good chances to double it. Bournemouth 1, Forest 0.
Earlier in the Premier League, finished goalless at Anfield between Liverpool and Chelsea. Into the Championship, where earlier it finished Coventry 2, Norwich 4. Let's go round the 3 o'clocks. We'll start at Ashton Gate. Chris Coles.
Bristol City 0, Blackburn 0, but there were good chances to change that, mainly falling to Bristol City as the half wore on. Blackburn's best moment came early. The returning Ben Brereton Diaz, you could almost see him planning the cradling baby celebration as a fine ball was delivered to him at the back post, but he missed from point blank range. Maybe a lack of sleep following the birth of his first child to blame. Bristol City had an equally good chance, brilliantly saved by Thomas Kaminski. Naki Wells glancing front post header. Kaminski's reflex stop, lively but goalless. Bristol City 0, Blackburn 0.
In League One, Shrewsbury have doubled their lead on the stroke of half-time. Shrewsbury 2, Cambridge 0. Let's go to Watford. Lee Blakeman.
Watford 0, Rotherham 1, fairly even before the goal, which came midway through the half. Tariq Fosu on his debut for Rotherham with a shot from outside the area. Backman in the Watford goal flew to his left, made a great save, but then Shane Ferguson thumped in the rebound from a really tight angle. Excellent finish. Down the other end, Mario Gasper has clipped the post for Watford. Ismail Assar has gone close, and the officials being booed off here by the home fans because Watford feel they may have had a couple of penalties. Both appeals waved away. At the moment, this one not going the way that the table might suggest. Watford 0, Rotherham 1.
May have sacked their manager last week, but Cardiff's problems continue. Laura Kenyon.
They really do. Cardiff 0, Millwall 1. Playoff chasing Millwall lead through Tom Bradshaw. Had no right to score from the angle he did. Poor defending, coupled with sheer power on the shot to put it through keeper Ryan Allsop's legs. Cardiff struggling in the Championship, have had chances of their own, failed to take them. Boos on the half-time whistle. Cardiff 0, Millwall 1.
Nothing came from that Villa free kick. Jonathan Overend.
No, but they have got another one, and this time in a slightly more advanced position. So Villa ending this half stronger, and Douglas Luiz, of course, fancies his chances at this sort of range. What are we, about 25 yards out, but also Bailey's around it and Buendia as well. 5-man wall. All the big guys are in there for Southampton. Bazunu is lining it up. Probably Douglas Luiz to take it. They're taking a long time over this. Still 0-0, but it's going to be Bailey who strikes it left-footed. It's into the wall, but it's going to bounce around in the penalty area. Header comes in from Camara, and Bazunu falls on it with relief. It remains Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0.
Back to the Championship. Wigan yet to win under Kolo Touré, and they're behind this afternoon as well. Katie Smith.
Yeah, Wigan 0, Luton 1. Luton certainly edging it this half, going ahead early with new signing Stephen Colker making his home debut today, losing the ball on the edge of the D. Cornick striding through, finishing in the top left-hand corner. Fletcher, though, did have the ball in the back of the net for Wigan, ruled out for offside, so they are staring at a 7th game in a row without a win. They trail by a goal to 0.
As St Andrews, Birmingham 0, Preston 2. Ryan Ledson and Alan Brown with the Preston goals. QPR lead Swansea by a goal to 0 at half-time thanks to Jamal Lowe. Stoke 1, Reading 0. Will Smallbone with the goal there. Into League One, John Akers is watching the leaders.
They are still the leaders. Argyle 2, Cheltenham 1 as it stands. Scar with the first and Hardy with the second. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Argyle, but Cheltenham have had their chances. Potentially should have had more than just the one. Taylor Perry with the goal for them. It's a good game. Plymouth 2, Cheltenham 1.
Great first half at Oakwell for the home side. Barnsley lead Accrington Stanley by 3 goals still. James Norwood, 6 of the season. The former Celtic youngster Jack Aitchison and Jordan Williams with the goals there. Derby 1, Bolton 0 at the break. Forest Green Rovers 1, MK Dons 1. It's also all square between Oxford and Ipswich. They've drawn their last 3 of Ipswich ahead of today. Goalless between Portsmouth and Exeter, who are under their new manager, Portsmouth, John Mousinho, who they've taken from Oxford. Sheffield Wednesday are in second. They lead Fleetwood by a goal to 0 thanks to Marvin Johnson. And Shrewsbury 2, Cambridge 0 at half-time. To the top 2 in League 2, and it's going the way of the second-place side, Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0. The home side have been industrious in everything they do, Mark, and took the lead 6 minutes in. Tay Ashby Hamid lumped the ball forward. Jamie Reid judged the bounce a bit better than the Orient defence and managed to nod past Lawrence Vigoury. The second was a bit of pure quality. Jordan Roberts crafting his effort into the near post corner. Richie Wellens replied and brought forward Harry Smith on, but then a gaff saw Idris El Mizouni accidentally handball, meaning he picked up a second yellow, and that the visitors ended the half 2 goals and a man down. Half time here in the Summit meeting. Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0.
Battle towards the bottom. Colchester in 19th taking on Gillingham, who are bottom of the table, and Gillingham lead by 2 goals to 0 at half-time. As I mentioned, Tom Nichols got the second, the former Crawley player. David Totonda with his first goal for the club got the first. And in the only other game in League 2 this afternoon, again a battle towards the bottom. This is 23rd against 22nd, and it is goalless between Hartlepool and Rochdale. In the National League, only 2 games survived the weather this afternoon. It's Bromley 1, Aldershot 1 and Maidstone 0, Wrexham 1. Half-time in the games in Scotland, and again the weather has played its part today, but in League 1 it's goalless between Peterhead and Clyde. In League 2, Annan 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, East Fife 0, Stranraer 2. It's also Scottish Cup 4th round weekend. Earlier Celtic thrashed Moreton 5-0. In the 3 o'clock games, Alloa 1, Falkirk 1, Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1. Dundee United have made heavy weather of taking on Stirling University. Only 1 goal in it, and that was on the stroke of half-time at Tannadice, but the Scottish Premiership side lead by a goal to 0. Goalless between Hamilton, Ross County and Kilmarnock and Dumbarton. It's Partick Thistle 0, Dunfermline 1. St Mirren 0, Dundee 0 and Stenhousemuir lead Livingston by a goal to 0. In the Northern Irish Premiership, these are half-times. Cliftonville 1, Coleraine 0, Dungannon 1, Glenarvan 1, goalless between Larne and Crusaders, Linfield 2, Ballymena 0 and Newry City 0, Glentoran 2. In the Women's Super League earlier, finished Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. Half-time whistle has now gone at St Mary's. Jonathan Overend.
Finally, and it's 0-0. Aston Villa closed the half the stronger, and Leon Bailey had a couple of really excellent chances late on. In the first minute of stoppage time, he lost his footing as he was about to shoot left-footed from a cross. It would have been a big chance. Likewise, his chance on the half-hour mark when he blasted over after Jacob Ramsey's shot had been saved by Bazunu. Southampton have been disappointing on the whole, although Walker-Peters did have the ball in the net. It was ruled out for offside. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0 at half-time.
In Rugby Union's Champions Cup earlier, Harlequins 39, Sharks 29, Northampton Charlton 13, La Rochelle 31. Approaching half-time in these two, Bordeaux 10, Gloucester 5, Leinster 7, Racing 5. Earlier, Scarlets beat Bayern 20 points to 7 in the Challenge Cup. Approaching half-time in these two ties, Benetton 17, Stade Francais 15, Brive 17, Cardiff 3. In the tennis earlier, Andy Murray was knocked out of the Australian Open in the third round. And in the golf in Abu Dhabi, Padraig Harrington shot a 64 to be within 2 of the lead going into the final round. Shane Lowry, one of the 3 leaders. Exactly 4 o'clock. Here's Jill Mackenzie.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Conservative Party chairman, Nadeem Zahawi, says HMRC accepted that his tax error was careless and not deliberate. He's released a statement after claims he tried to avoid tax and had to pay it back. The former Chancellor said he'd chosen to settle the matter and pay what HMRC said was due, but Labour's called for Mr Zahawi to be sacked. An advisor to Ukraine's President Zelensky says the West's indecision over sending extra weapons is killing more Ukrainian people. Kyiv is requesting German-built tanks, but a meeting of allies today ended without a decision on that. The chief executive of NHS England has told the BBC that strikes by health staff are making workloads more challenging to handle. Amanda Pritchard said the ongoing industrial action is clearly having an impact, but all sides are trying to reach a resolution. And the leader of a people smuggling gang has been arrested at Manchester Airport after going on the run for more than a month. Tariq Namek had failed to turn up at court in December for sentencing for bringing migrants into the UK hidden in the backs of lorries.
One of the biggest football events in the calendar is upon us.
That is absolutely sensational!
That's right, the January transfer window is defying the British winter and is wedged wide open.
The Transfer Gossip Daily Podcast with Maisie Adam.
Every day throughout the month, I'll be joined by some of the country's best football journalists to dissect the day's most tantalising transfer rumours from across the world, all in under 10 minutes.
What will happen next?
Keep up to date with all the comings and goings fresh from the rumour mill with the Transfer Gossip Daily Podcast. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Back at the London Stadium very soon, where West Ham lead Everton by 2-0. In the early game, finished Liverpool 0, Chelsea 0. Jurgen Klopp afterwards asked what he made of his 1,000th match as manager.
Let me say it like this, if all of this 1,000 or the 990 before would have been exactly like the one today, I'm not sure I would have reached the 1,000, but now it's special, crazy journey, but yeah. I have time after career to think about these kind of things. Maybe a few more will come, but for today it was not important really to me. Everything was like a normal game, and I was happy with parts of the game. So the start in the first half was really good, and the start in the second half was especially good. So, and we have to extend these periods. That's the plan. That's what we have to do, and that's what we are working on. That Chelsea, when if you don't score and don't decide the game, that they're always able to, especially bring on quality from the bench, these kind of things, but that they are able to cause you problems is clear. Sometimes you have to defend them with passion. We did that, I think, twice really well, where we blocked in the last moment a shot. This is defending as well. That wouldn't have happened 2 weeks ago, and I'm really happy with that progress. And in general, I said before the game, we have to be ready for little steps, and this today was still a little step. And how it always is when you need to improve, very rare people are happy with the time you need for it, but if you see the right steps, then it's fine.
Match of the day, 10:30 tonight on BBC One. In the 3 o'clock Premier Leagues, just to remind you of the half times: Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Leicester 1, Brighton 1, goalless between Southampton and Aston Villa, and West Ham lead Everton by 2-0. Everton coming back out at the London Stadium. Danny Ings warming up at half time. Will we see him for the home side? Let's rejoin James Collins and Ian Dennis.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Danny Ings, who of course signed from Aston Villa for £12 million, with the possibility of them paying another £3 million should West Ham United stay out. West Ham United leading by 2-0. Everton, they were first out in their change strip of the all-yellow. Just having a look, doesn't look like there's going to be, there is going to be a double change. Tom Davies and Dwight McNeil are going to be coming on for Everton. West Ham now just coming out as well. So a double change being made here by Frank Lampard. Doesn't look to be any changes being made by West Ham United. So the players who's going to come off for first of all for Dwight McNeil, it's going to be Mikolenko who's going to be coming off for Dwight McNeil. They have played with three central defenders and wing backs, and then the other change being made there for West Ham United. Sorry, for Everton, with Davis coming on. Just have to didn't actually see the number there, James. I'll give you the Everton side as well while we work that one out. Fabianski's in goal. Again, Ogbonna, Zuma, Sofal and Emerson, the wing backs. Rice, Paquetá, Bowen, Antonio and Benrahma. We are underway. And it was Coleman, the other player, going off for Tom Davis. So they've jigged things around, James.
Yeah, needed as well. You know, I think they were struggling first half, Everton. The change has been needed. Like I say, they were doing all right in possession. They were keeping the ball without really going anywhere. And, you know, they need to do something. And from a West Ham point of view, I think, you know, the fans are certainly back on side. You'd like to see them, you know, foot on the gas and go and get more goals in this game.
Well, McNeil straight away has sent over a cross that eluded both Calvert-Lewin and Davis, as Everton attacking the all-yellow from left to right. Iwobi plays it in towards Davis. It comes out towards Gay, and it bounces away from him, and Rice clears it away.
He's taken a touch there now. He's come back to him, and, you know, the cut back on the edge of the box, in between the edge of the box and the penalty spot. And he's taken a touch. For me, he's got to hit it first time. He's taken a heavy touch, and Declan Rice has been able to clear it.
So straight away, there was almost immediate dividends for the double change made by Frank Lampard. So they, in the first half, were playing with the three central defenders, which they still are, with Mina, Cody and Tarkowski protecting Pickford. But McNeil is the left wing back. Iwobi has gone to right wing back, with Gay, Onana and Davis now in the midfield, with Calvert-Lewin and Damari Gray as the front two. So it's still the same system, just the different personnel, as they trail by 2-0. And for Frank Lampard and Everton, with problems on and off the pitch, looks like there's activity down below for West Ham already in these early stages too. There's a lot of players warming up. Danny Ings has just continued his warm-up that he did throughout the interval.
I wouldn't have minded being a fly on the wall in that Everton dressing room at half-time. Then clearly not good enough, obviously struggling as well, and the manager under pressure. Nothing of anything really from them in the first half. Like I said, had a bit of possession, but nothing really positive going forward, trying to score a goal. So I'm sure that Everton dressing room was a little bit lively, to say the least, at half-time.
Yeah, well, I'll hope that they can put in an improved second half performance as McNeil's cross sails away and out behind for a goal kick. The thing is as well is that they've actually got a break now until the 4th of February, so it really will it would fester such a damaging defeat here today. 10 without a win in all competitions. I mean, I know Danjuma is going to be coming in on loan from Villarreal to try and bolster their forward line, but they look a club in deep peril.
They do, Deno, and you look at their next two games. I think it's Arsenal and the Merseyside derby against Liverpool. So this was a big game for Everton today. Like I said, they've huffed and puffed a little bit in possession, but not really created anything to go and win the game. You know, there's still time. Obviously, they could come forward, but you know, it is a depressing looking at it as an Everton fan, certainly with the two games coming up.
Benrahma picks up a loose ball, drives forward out towards Bowen, who's on a hat-trick. His attempted cross from the right was stopped by Gay, plays it to Tarkowski, forward ball towards Onana, and now Gay can run the ball away for Everton. And Everton at the moment looking for a foothold back into the game, trailing by 2-0. Had Iwobi's shot before half-time not been deflected onto the post, that could have been it. Iwobi now running forward on this right-hand side. Back then it goes to Damari Gray, and Damari Gray, under the attentions of Benrahma, to Yerry Mina. Feels very subdued inside the London Stadium. You wouldn't know necessarily that West Ham are winning by 2-0.
I know how big this stadium is. Then they all still stood at the bar trying to get served, I think.
You're actually looking at it, you're right as well, James. There are a lot of pockets of empty white seats as you look around this vast arena here at the London Stadium under the clear blue skies.
By the look of it, a lot of the Everton fans have decided to stay at the bar for the second half as well. A lot of them haven't come back to their seats.
That was a yellow card that has just been shown to Paquetá, the Brazilian international for West Ham. Has been booked by referee Stuart Atwell. Partick have equalised against Dunfermline in the Scottish Cup. 4th round, 1-1 there. Premier League, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Leicester City 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Southampton Aston Villa is goalless. That's how it finished as well between Liverpool and Chelsea in the early game, as Danny Ings looks like he's going to be coming on. Final instructions from Kevin Nolan. Forest Green, who were leading, have now slipped behind at home to MK Dons in League One. Forest Green 1, MK Dons 2. Back it goes to Pickford, all in orange, left-footed clearance downfield. You just get the impression from Everton, they just look a very, very disjointed side at the moment.
It's almost like they're not sure what they're doing. Like I said, they're happy to keep possession, but there's no real impetus into go forward. They get to a point where they turn back, and you know, there needs to be what West Ham did in the first half, keep it around their box and make things happen. But you know, they put again there, cross into the box, no real quality, cleared quite easily by West Ham.
Everton with Onana to Tarkowski. Of course, if they could get a goal back, it might change the atmosphere. It might create a little bit more jeopardy in the game. But at the minute, West Ham United look very, very comfortable. This is Iwobi coming in from the right touch line. We're live on BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds. Cody's forward ball easily cleared by Ogbonna. That loose ball picked up by Cody. Onana challenged by Declan Rice. Free kick to Everton. It was an attempt to play the ball. He might not necessarily get a yellow card.
Yeah, a little bit late.
Little
bit late. I see Davis running over trying to get Declan Rice booked. You know, I don't like to see that, as you know, it's a genuine attempt from Declan to win the ball. Yeah, a little bit late. It's a foul. Don't like to see opposition players running over trying to get another player booked. You know, get on with it. It's a free kick. Get on with the game.
The voice of James Collins on BBC Radio 5 Live, where Livingston have equalised at Stenhousemuir. Stenhousemuir 1, Livingston 1. Free kick taken by Everton. Into the penalty area it goes, over the head of everybody. And Sofal will clear before Calvert-Lewin can reach that ball. And then the ball played up towards Bowen, who's on a hat-trick.
7 minutes in.
This is Jarrod Bowen, who turns and lifts the ball out towards that far side, and then it's offside against Benrahma. Let's get an update from Leicester City. Pat Murphy.
It's still Leicester 1, Brighton 1, but Brighton players are furious, as is their chief coach, Roberto De Zerbi, who's just been shown a yellow card for his protestations by the referee Thomas Bramwell. It came when Thomas brought down Welbeck. Welbeck may have made a bit of a meal of it, but to me that looked like a legitimate grievance, and it could well have been a penalty. But VAR did not intervene, and the referee's decision stood, much to Brighton's consternation. Will that fuel them even further? Leicester 1, Brighton 1.
Down at the bottom of the Football League at Victoria Park, it's Hartlepool against Rochdale. It remains 0-0, but Rochdale, who are just outside the bottom two, are down to 10 men, and with Gillingham, who are currently leading against I think it's Colchester today, then that means, yes they are, they're 2-0 up at Colchester. It actually means that Hartlepool will slip to the bottom of the Football League unless they can take advantage of that extra man. Everton are attacking, they're 2-0 down. Cross floated over from the left hand side, only partially cleared. Iwobi picks it up right hand side of the penalty area, scooped back in by Mina, and then the header by Sofal is headed away by Emerson, and eventually Everton with Declan Rice on the half volley lifts it long. It's a skied ball that Cody's going to head away, kept in play by Benrahma, and Yerry Mina now has the ball at his feet. Wigan and Luton in the Championship. Katie Smith.
It's deja vu here at the DW Stadium. Wigan 0, Luton 2, because Adebayo, who scored the winner just 4 days ago to knock Wigan out of the FA Cup, has now scored here to double Luton's lead. They lead by 2-0.
Jarrod Bowen was making a run in towards the penalty area. He was stopped just as he was looking maybe to try and get a shot away, but West Ham United are still attacking. It's Paquetá, central position, rolls it along the ground. Emerson, the left wing back, forward. Now it's with Ben Rama, just in from this left touchline. Livingston have turned it around. They now lead Stenhousemuir 2-1 in the Scottish Cup. And West Ham United, you can hear the West Ham voices now. In the Championship, there's been a goal at Ashton Gate. Chris Coles.
They've lost 4 of the last 5 away games in the league, but Blackburn Rovers lead. Bradley Dack, great finish, 7 yards out, bottom left-hand corner. Bristol City 0, Blackburn 1.
Antonio trying to get the shot away, couldn't do so, runs it into the penalty area, overruns it, and it's picked up by Jordan Pickford. James Collins.
Yeah, you see Pickford there, easy ball. You know, Michael Antonio's trying his best on the edge of the box. The ball's run through to Pickford. He's running out. There's a little bit of urgency from him, but you know, there's no one to roll a ball out to. Get this team going forward, you know, get a bit of urgency, a bit of tempo to it. They're happy just to keep the ball again as they were in the first half, Everton, without really going anywhere.
I asked the question whether Hartlepool United could take advantage of the 10 men of Rochdale, and they've done exactly that. Hartlepool 1, Rochdale 0 in League 2. Everton, who are 2-0 down, with Damari Gray on this right-hand side. Iwobi goes infield to the substitute, Tom Davis. Forward ball, Calvert-Lewin just outside the D. On the stretch, on the slide, Davis diverts the ball towards Iwobi. Forward ball towards the far post, sliding and jumping forward with a trailing leg was Calvert-Lewin, couldn't get on the end of it. Goal kick.
Iwobi did brilliant. Better, you know, at least there's a ball in the box. There's you know, attempt to get a shot on goal. Iwobi did really well. Great ball across to Calvert-Lewin. You know, West Ham got to be careful here. You mentioned it, Deno. If they were to concede and Everton get a little sniff back in the game, this whole place will change. Everton will get a big lift. West Ham fans, West Ham players will start getting nervous. So this is a big 10 minutes for both teams.
Southampton, Aston Villa, Jonathan Overend.
So we're about 10 minutes behind you after that first half stoppage, still 0-0, but the second half starting as the first half ended. That's with a chance for Leon Bailey, and there was a great chance as well after a miscued clearance, but it was straight at Bazunu. Saints 0, Villa 0.
Leicester 1, Brighton 1, Bournemouth lead Nottingham Forest by a goal to 0. Davis's forward ball blocked by Emerson. David Moyes against his former club, reappointed of course at West Ham in 2019, signed that new 3-year deal in 2021. There's been a lot of talk about his future. This is a manager who's produced top 7 successive finishes for West Ham United and a Europa League semi-final last year. He'll be hoping that loyalty is rewarded. Damari Gray, right corner of the area. Everton looking to try and hope that this, probably their best spell in the game, can reach a goal. And it wasn't too far away either. It was Gay, whose long-range effort. Fabianski must have got something on that corner kick.
I think he said West Ham have got. Fabianski certainly said that it's a good effort from Iwobi, was it? I think. Yeah. They've got to be careful, West Ham. I've just mentioned it. You know, they're dropping deeper and deeper and inviting Everton on. And like I say, if Everton were to get the next goal in this game, the whole game, you know, turns on its head.
Full stretch. Fabianski tipping around the shot from Idrissa Gueye, who's yet to score in his second spell for Everton. They've got a corner kick though over on that far side. Trailing by 2 goals to 0. Everton playing from left to right. In comes the corner from the left. Calvert-Lewin was up there as well. Hasn't been dealt with by West Ham United's defence. It only comes as far as Iwobi, right-hand side of the penalty area. And Iwobi, good play with a lovely ball in, and it's gathered in safely by Fabianski. But Iwobi's certainly looking a threat. A goal at Watford now. Lee Blakeman.
Watford 1, Rotherham 1. João Ferreira picked up the ball on the halfway line, ran half the pitch, drilled it hard and low across goal into the bottom corner, and it had been coming. Watford level at 1-1.
Portsmouth are leading Exeter by a goal to 0. They've just appointed John Mousinho as their new manager. No win in 10 before today, but at Fratton Park they're 1-0 up at League One, and Stoke City have got a second goal in the Championship. They've lost their last 3. Reading without a win in 3. It's Stoke City 2, Reading 0. You're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're going to go to Pat Murphy now at Leicester City, Brighton.
It's still 1-1, but it should be 2-1 Brighton. Brilliant play by that Japanese winger Mitoma. Skinned his marker. Instead of going for glory, he put it into the path of Solly March. Somehow 10 yards out, he got his feet mixed up and went over the bar. Leicester 1, Brighton 1.
Livingston now leads Stenhousemuir 3-1 in the Scottish Cup. Iwobi's made a difference for Everton on this right-hand side.
He has, definitely. He's been excellent at the start of the second half, and it's sort of been invited on from West Ham. I've mentioned it a couple of times. They've dropped deep. look a little bit nervous. They're 2-0 up at home, and sort of Everton have taken the impetus in this team, in this game, and are really coming forward and growing in confidence every time they get a number of passes together and move forward up the pitch.
14 minutes into the second half, and it's Everton once again who are coming forward. They are trailing to those 2 Jared Bowen goals in the first half, but they play the ball out towards Dwight McNeil, now playing as a left wing back. He will be on this near side, the right, as a right wing back. He's certainly forward, and here he is on the ball as well. Iwobi, as they go back to Yerry Mina to Gay, able to turn back towards the halfway line, but Everton seeing a lot of the ball. Will nip to Bournemouth. Henry Moran.
Still Bournemouth 1, Forest 0, but it's been a bright start to this second half from the visitors. Remo Freuler probably should have done better, missed kicking inside the penalty area. Danilo has come on debut, the Brazilian. He's looked lively. Forest beginning to push for that equaliser. Still Bournemouth 1, Forest 0.
Everton with 15 points, the fewest points of a Premier League season in their history. Their previous worst was 17 in 97-98 and 05-06. I mean, this is a side that have been, and a club that have been established in the top flight of English football for so long. It's their 69th successive season in the top division. But you really do have to fear for Everton. They're trailing by 2-0. They have a free kick. They're looking for a way back into the game. Damari Gray to take it. Right-footed, curls it in now, off the head of Calvert-Lewin. McNeil hooks it back into a crowded penalty area, and eventually it's away by Zuma and headed further away by Benrahma. West Ham had everybody back there in their claret shirts as Everton attack from left to right. Damari Gray on this near side, the right. Diagonal cross will drop on the edge of the penalty area. Calvert-Lewin was the intended target, comes out to McNeil, tries to get away from the challenge Paquetá, and they get another corner kick. Good spell for Everton.
Definitely, Dano. The 2 substitutes have made a massive difference for Everton. McNeil down the one side, and they've moved Iwobi over to the right wing back, and they're getting forward. They're getting crosses in the box. You've got to give Everton credit. You know, they're trying to get a goal, trying to get themselves back into the game. So this is a lot better from Everton.
Corner kick on that far side, the left. It's an in-swinger. It's going to come out to Iwobi. Iwobi trying to get away from Benrahma, works over the cross, but it was easily dealt with by, again, the Moroccan defender. And now with Emerson, doesn't really have much support, runs into Davis, who lifts the ball high, a big up and under, and the flag goes up on this near side. Shrewsbury 3, Cambridge 0 is a latest score in League One. And we've been playing for 62 minutes. We'll have Crystal Palace Newcastle after sports report with Alistair Bruce Ball and Ray Houghton. Commentary from 5:30. Match of the day tonight at 10:30. Gary Lineker, Jermaine Genius and Danny Murphy. And then tomorrow, 5 Live Premier League Sunday, Manchester City Wolves at 2, Arsenal Manchester United at 4:30. And next Tuesday and Wednesday, it's the League Cup semi-final, the first leg. Southampton, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Manchester United. Both games live on BBC Radio 5 Live. But here we are at the London Stadium, where West Ham United have had to soak up a lot of pressure in this second half. And it's Everton who are the side who is coming forward again. And Calvert-Lewin, right-hand side of the penalty area, wins a corner. Goal at Leicester, Pat Murphy.
It's gone to Leicester City, scored by Harvey Barnes, alone and loitering at the far post. Right foot from a corner, poor marking. Leicester 2, Brighton 1.
Leicester City needed that after 4 straight defeats in the Premier League. Everton then, on this dreadful run of form, have a corner kick. They're 2-0 down. It's on this near side, the right. This chilly afternoon in the capital. Damari Gray to take it, didn't beat the first man. Easily headed away by
Drives
Paquetá.
me mad, that Deno. Centre halves, you've got your big lads up, good headers of the ball, and the delivery's not there. Terrible delivery. You know, it's a great chance for Everton. They haven't looked like creating too much in open play. It's a corner. You've got your best, headers in the box. Make sure you get the delivery right. Get it into good areas.
But when it came back to him as well the second time, he lacked elevation for his second intended cross that was cleared away.
I never used to like it because I was up for a corner and I'd have to run 80 yards back to defend.
Well, that's exactly what the Everton defenders are doing. An Everton defence that has been breached on 2 occasions, Bowen on both from close range, and now they've played it round the back for Emerson, and Emerson running forward, and Emerson steadies himself, and Emerson touched onto the crossbar by Pickford. He almost got his first goal in the Premier League in his career. It was a strong run down the left-hand side, and it needed a touch from Pickford. Onto the bar off the left foot.
I think he's got away with this one, Pickford. It's not convincing by any stretch of the imagination. It's sort of gone through his hand, just about got enough onto it to put it onto the bar. But Everton, it's their corner, you know, a poor delivery. 30 seconds later, Pickford's pushing the ball onto the wrong bar.
A third goal would surely finish Everton off. Corner kick for West Ham United, and then it was a guard, I think it was, inside that 6-yard area, just couldn't keep his header down. Goal kick.
Yeah, but it's all about delivery. Just mentioning it, the other end, Everton's poor delivery. Great ball in from West Ham. A guard's got up, probably a little bit too high for him. He can't quite head it down, and he's put it over the bar.
65 minutes played here. Dundee United 2, University of Stirling 0 in the Scottish Cup 4th round. Plymouth 3, Cheltenham 1. So the leaders of League One have re-established their 2-goal cushion. And Hartlepool United 2, Rochdale 0 is a significant scoreline down at the bottom of the Football League, and it means with Gillingham leading, Rochdale now will slip to the bottom, and Hartlepool as a result actually will climb out of the bottom 2 with that 2-goal scoreline. Keith Curle is their interim manager at Victoria Park. We're going to get an update from Southampton. Jonathan Overend.
Still 0-0, but Aston Villa have won their last 2 in the league away from home and looking the more dangerous. They've had the better chances comfortably over the course of the afternoon. Southampton, it's been disappointing. The home fans have not seen the sort of play that they've enjoyed over the last 10 days or so. It remains Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0.
Thank you, Jonathan. Still no change in the scoreline here. Bournemouth are still leading 1-0. Leicester are leading Brighton and Hove Albion by 2-1. As Everton go back, Iwobi to Pickford, and we'll get news of that 3rd goal for Plymouth from John Akers.
Should be enough. Plymouth 3, Cheltenham 1. Callum Wright set through by Finn Azaz. Both used to be on loan at Cheltenham. Tucked it past the keeper. Plymouth 3, Cheltenham 1.
We've got boxing for you tonight on BBC Radio 5 Live. It's on at 10 o'clock. Chris Eubank Jr. against Liam Smith. You'll be able to hear that if you're on a long journey back from watching your team. You've decided to leave the ground early if things aren't necessarily going your way. The Everton support, to their credit, a lot of them have stayed loyally away towards our right-hand side, but it's bleak times to be an Evertonian.
It is, and it might get slightly worse. Then I can see Danny Ings sat down on the bench with his top off, ready to come on. And you've got to think, you know, Everton are going to push forward, try and get a goal, try and get themselves back into the game. With a fresh Danny Ings coming on for West Ham, new signing in front of these home fans for the first time. You're going to think he's going to get space if Everton try and come out and get a goal. So he'll be excited to get on. And like you say, for Everton, they've got to try and do something. They've got to get themselves back in this game somehow.
Yes, they have. That's the voice of James Collins here on BBC Radio 5 Live in the World Service. We're midway through this second half now. Still no change with West Ham United leading with those 2 Jared Bowen goals after 34 and 41 minutes. Everton now have got to try and defend this free kick. It's just in from the right touch line. They've taken it short, and then the ball played to Sofal, who fires it in low, and it bounces away off the ankles of Antonio and goes straight out of play for a goal kick. Another goal at Ashton Gate. Chris Coles.
Equaliser for Bristol City. Bristol City 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. Antoine Semenyo, his 4th goal in his last 5 games, capitalising on a parry from the goalkeeper to tap home. Bristol City 1, Blackburn 1.
Ben Rama loses out to a sliding Mina inside left channel of the penalty area. Everton try and get it away, all in yellow, playing from left to right, and now it's with Gay. Back towards Cody, who leaves it towards Pickford. Communication levels certainly seem to be a little bit lost between the two there. West Ham, who had to have that spell in the second half where they soaked up a little bit of pressure, and now starting to come forward and attack at Everton, but Onana will bring the ball away. Gay was caught by Ogbonna. The referee plays the advantage, tells Gay to get back to his feet. McNeil now comes into a central area, out towards Iwobi, takes it on the inside of Emerson. and then Calvert-Lewin lets it run through. Iwobi picks it back up to Damari Gray, enters the penalty area. Calvert-Lewin was there. It was a timely clearance by Ogbonna for West Ham United. It'll be an Everton throw.
Great defending from Angelo Ogbonna. It's a tricky one. Ball's fizzed across the 6-yard box. I think I've done a few of them, and they've come off my shin pad and got in my own net, but he's got a full contact on it and put out for a throw-in. But great defending from Ogbonna.
Well, after that ACL injury that he picked up in 2021, he's now started 3 of the last 4 in the Premier League. He's been slowly working his way back towards fitness. He's been having run-outs in Europe this season. Of course, they won all 6 in the group stages of the Conference League, a tournament that they will resume in March for West Ham United. And Ogbonna certainly was making his presence felt with a timely clearance. Ball picked up by Davis. On the inside it breaks down. We're going to go back to Leicester. Pat Murphy.
This is on for
Can't hear from Pat just at the moment, but Souček and Ings will be the 2 players coming on for West Ham United. So David Moyes feeling that it's time for a double change for the home side, as Rice picks it up, passes the ball forward to Ben Rama and out to Bowen. Another goal at Plymouth. John Akers.
Of course, good game this. Plymouth 3, Cheltenham 2. They've got another one back. Cheltenham, Alfie May, 4 in 4 for him. Plymouth 3, Cheltenham 2.
Thank you very much. Derby are on a good run under Paul Warne, unbeaten in 12, leading Bolton Wanderers by a goal to 0. And here we can see this double change being made. And while the double change happens, we'll go back to Pat Murphy.
It's still Leicester 2, Brighton 1, but James Maddison has come on as sub for Leicester. It's welcome like a returning hero after being out for 2 months with a knee problem. If he can just hold the ball in this last 25 minutes, that's all that Leicester want, because Brighton are in charge now, even though Leicester lead them 2-1.
Thank you, Pat. Danny Ings has come on to make his West Ham United debut to replace Mikel Antonio, the 30-year-old signed from Aston Villa. He's a proven goal scorer in the top flight. His record is 68 goals in 188 appearances. £12 million signing. He comes on and Souček replaces Paquetá. Ings, of course, used to play at Southampton, and the deadlock has been broken against his former club Villa. Jonathan Overend.
The ball's in the net and Southampton lead by a goal to 0. James Ward-Prowse has been so influential of late. His shot was wickedly deflected and it went past Martinez, who was wrong-footed. But there are huge Aston Villa complaints. They're surrounding the referee. They won't let him get away. Of course it will be checked, but as things stand, it's a Villa-owned goal, although Ward-Prowse will claim it. Southampton 1, Villa 0.
And that means, incidentally, by the way, Derby have got a second goal at home to Bolton Wanderers in League One. But that scoreline there with Southampton 1, Aston Villa 0, and West Ham United leading Everton by 2 goals to 0, mean that Leeds United and Wolverhampton Wanderers now drop into the relegation zone, and Everton drop to the bottom of the Premier League. So, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Leicester 2, Brighton 1, Southampton 1, Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 2, Everton 0. Commentary at Selhurst Park from 5:30. Palace against Newcastle United. Team News, Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Main headline here is that Brunei Guimaraes starts for Newcastle. That looked unlikely when he left the field in tears last Sunday, so Newcastle unchanged. 4 changes for Palace as Patrick Vieira freshens things up, including Michael Olise dropping to the bench after that wonderful free kick late on against Manchester United on Wednesday. Ebere Eze replaces him.
And Ali will be joined by Ray Houghton. You'll hear those two from 5:30 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Alloa 1, Falkirk 2 is a latest score in the Scottish Cup. This is 5 Live. We're here at the London Stadium, and Everton bottom of the Premier League and in all sorts of problems.
Yeah, it's not looking great, Deno, not just for this game, you know, it's not, you know, you look at the next 2 games as we mentioned, Arsenal and Liverpool, 2 huge games, Frank Lampard under pressure. Even in this game now, Deno, they need to do something. It's just sort of petering out. West Ham are quite comfortable to waste time already, taking it nice and steady, and Everton are not really doing anything to counteract that. There either needs to be a substitution or something just to get this Everton fans going to believe they can get back in the game.
Well, Jonathan Overend did say that the Aston Villa protests were quite strong, and that goal I'm hearing, Jonathan?
Well, it's been disallowed, and the referee was called over to look at the screen, and you can hear the reaction around St Mary's because they've shown the replay on the big screens here, and the crowd have reacted with huge annoyance. It was so soft. El Yunusi on Ramsey, who took a tumble in the box before Ward-Prowse's shot. But anyway, it's been disallowed. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0.
And that means that Wolverhampton Wanderers, Southampton and Everton are the bottom three, and Leeds United get a reprieve as it stands. Meanwhile, whilst Jonathan was talking, Declan Rice has picked up the ball on the left-hand side. He's entered the penalty area and he's gone for goal, and it's probably centimetres rather than inches away from creeping inside that far post.
Yeah, it's a great run from Declan Rice, not known for bursting into the box like that, but he's done really well on his left foot. Tight angle, narrow angle. He would have done well to get it in on the far post, but a good effort.
Elsewhere, Portsmouth have got a second goal at home to Exeter. Portsmouth 2, Exeter 0. Cambridge have got a goal back in League One. Shrewsbury 3, Cambridge 1. And a red card at Ashton Gate. Chris Coles.
Bristol City 1, Blackburn 1, but the visitors down to 10 men. Captain Daniel Ayala sent off. Second yellow card for hauling back Narky Wells on the edge of the box. 1-1, but Blackburn Rovers down to 10.
Everton trailing by 2 goals to 0. They've had a couple of opportunities in the second half. Demarai Gray makes a run round the back. The flag stays down. Challenge comes in. Then from... That was Ben Rama, I think it was. No, it was Agard who got the challenge in on Demarai Gray. Both of them are actually feeling they're both hobbling. They're both back on their feet, but both hobbling.
They both look like they've got cramp. 75 minutes in, they both look like they've got cramp. He's struggling, Agard. He can't shake it off.
Ben Rama now looking towards Jared Bowen. Bowen just over his head. It was taken away by Tarkowski. Couldn't get that ball under full control.
This is how this game's going to go now, Deno. Obviously, Everton are pushing forward in numbers, trying to get themselves back in the game, which is leaving lots and lots of space for these West Ham attacking players to exploit, going the other way. But this is almost going to be like a basketball game now, I think, this last 15 minutes.
Well, they've got to give it a go. They're trailing by 2 goals to 0. Got to go down fighting. Shrewsbury 4, Cambridge 1 is the latest score in League One. Here now is Connor Cody towards Davis, doesn't quite reach him. Rice now will play an early ball forward towards Danny Ings. I know that you played for Aston Villa and West Ham United, but when it comes to the claret and sky blue, Ings has got a hat-trick, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Villa, West Ham and Burnley.
Well, my dad used to tell a story when I left from Villa to go back to West Ham. One good thing was he didn't have to change his scarf, so I'm sure Danny Ings' parents have kept the scarves for 3 clubs now.
Well worn and certainly been well used in the career of Danny Ings. Here is Demarai Gray. Iwobi on the halfway line, inside towards Onana, turns. Idrissa Gueye, out it goes to McNeil. McNeil, challenged by Bowen. Bowen dives in and wins that ball. The referee, though, says unfairly so. And it'll be a free kick to Everton.
He's been excellent, Jared Bowen, for West Ham. You know, we talked before the game about urgency, pace, shutting players down. Obviously, he's got the 2 goals, which is most important, but his work off the ball, like I said, closing people down, making tackles. He's giving a free kick away there, but the West Ham fans won't mind that. He's showing the effort, the commitment to make the challenge, and like I said, yeah, he's been superb this afternoon.
West Ham United, this really could be a real lift for them. A valuable 3 points if they do see it out, leading 2-0. High free kick headed on by Mina, caught by Fabianski. 12 defeats in the Premier League is the most, with Leicester and Southampton before today. In fact, it's the most defeats at this stage of a league season in West Ham's club history. So when you think where they finished last season, that good run in Europe, trying to get back to where they were in the top half of the table, David Moyes is going to be making another double change, and we're going to be seeing coming onto the field Flynn Downs and also Ben Johnson, the young defender, who are going to be coming on for David Moyes, and it will be Ben Rama and Emerson who are the players who are going to be making way. So David Moyes knows he's very, very close. He's come under a lot of scrutiny, hasn't he? A lot of pressure in the media.
Yeah, you've got to give him credit. You've got to, like I said, coming into the game under huge pressure, a lot of talk about his job. Started off a little bit cagey, rightly so. Like I said, a big game, but since that, West Ham have been far the better team. Gone out, scored the goals, and even now the game, you can see him on the sideline. They're controlling the football. They're controlling the pace of this football match now, and you've got to say it's been relatively comfortable for West Ham.
In fact, it's the cry of you being sacked in the morning is from the West Ham United supporters being directed to their former player Frank Lampard. West Ham United leading by 2-0. We have just over 10 minutes remaining. Swansea City have got an equaliser at Queen's Park Rangers. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Swansea 1, QPR only 1 win in 11. I'll run through all the divisions for you very, very soon in the closing stages as we build up towards Sports Report with Mark Chapman, the results and the live reaction before we hand to Crystal Palace and Newcastle United and Alistair Bruce Ball and Ray Houghton. As Iwobi forward on this near side, the right. Held up though by Ben Rama. Back towards McNeil, who drifts across towards the right to help out. Tarkowski is forward. Apart from that brief little flurry where Fabianski had saved from Idrissa Gueye and Calvert-Lewin threw himself at the cross that came in, Everton haven't really done enough to trouble this West Ham United defence.
Yeah, the qualities, I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times now. They've had enough possession and kept the ball, but without going anywhere. The quality in the final third hasn't been there. And like you say, Deno, I can't really think of a clear-cut chance. There's a few near misses where the ball's just been played in front of Calvert-Lewin, but nothing you'd say that is a clear-cut chance. And like I said, West Ham have been comfortable.
And yet they've had 66% in terms of possession. But it just goes to show if you're not creating the chances, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you hear that in football a lot these days about a number of passes, possession. There's no use to if you're not creating chances, if you're not doing something with that possession. And talking, from a West Ham point of view, I always think West Ham are better when they don't have the ball, when they're sort of defending deep and going on the counter-attack. But you're looking down at Frank Lampard on the sideline here. From an Everton point of view, he almost looks a little bit lost for ideas, doesn't really know what to do, and it could be a catastrophic afternoon for Frank Lampard and this Everton team.
Those changes have been made that we told you about. Downs for Ben Rama and Johnson coming on for Emerson. We'll give you the latest scores elsewhere in the Scottish Cup 4th round. Earlier, of course, a 12:15 kickoff at Celtic Park. Celtic 5, Morton 0. These are the latest scores. Alloa Athletic 1, Falkirk 2. Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1. Dundee United 3. University of Stirling 0. Hamilton 0, Ross County 0. Kilmarnock 0, Dumbarton 0. Johnson, meanwhile, with a cross from the left. Onana gets the ball away. Partick 1, Dunfermline Athletic 1. St Mirren 0, Dundee 0. Stenhouse Muir 1, Livingston 3. St Johnstone Rangers kicks off at 5:30. There'll be regular updates into our commentary from Selhurst Park and then into 6:06 as the cross comes in, cleared away by Ogbonna. No other scores elsewhere. These are the scores latest in League 2. A number of games were postponed, so I'll give you the latest scores. Colchester 0, Gillingham 2, and then Hartlepool 2, Rochdale 0, Stevenage 2, Leyton Orient 0. So just the 3 games that were played in League 2 today. In League 1, Barnsley 3, Accrington 0. The first 3 goals coming in the opening 19 minutes. Derby 2, Bolton 0. Derby will go unbeaten in 13 under Paul Warne with the end of Bolton's 6-match unbeaten run. Cross comes in from the right-hand side, headed away by Ogbonna. Forest Green 1, MK Dons 2. Up it goes to Bowen. Bowen enters the penalty area. Bowen gets the shot away. Sliding challenge by Cody, gets the block in, and then the goalkeeper Pickford will beat Bowen to the ball over on that far side. So Forest Green are behind. Without a win in 6, they'll remain bottom of the table. Oxford United 1, Ipswich 1, Plymouth the leaders 4, Cheltenham 2, Portsmouth 2, Exeter 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Fleetwood 0. Sheffield Wednesday have won there, well, it could be 5 on the spin now for Darren Moore's side, and Shrewsbury 4, Cambridge 1. In fact, news on that latest goal at Home Park from John Akers.
It's the 3rd time Plymouth have had a 2-goal cushion, 7 minutes left plus added time. Surely they'll hang on now. Sam Cosgrove on as a sub, beautiful finish with his right foot. Plymouth 4, Cheltenham 2.
Norwich City, 2 wins out of 2 under David Wagner. 4 goals in each. Deepdale last week, Coventry today, they won by 4 goals to 2. Before I give you the latest scores in the Championship, we've got news of a latest goal at Bournemouth. Henry Moran.
Bournemouth 1, Forest 1. Sam Surridge, the substitute at the back post, prodding it. I think they'll check this for offside, certainly. But as things stand, with 7 minutes remaining, Bournemouth 1, Forest 1.
Leicester City 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, also in the Premier League, and still Southampton 0, Aston Villa 0. The latest scores in the Championship: Birmingham 0, Preston North End 2. Birmingham then will be 5 straight defeats. Blackpool Huddersfield was postponed. Bristol City 1, Blackburn 1. Blackburn are down to 10 men. Cardiff 0, Millwall 1. Cardiff without a win in 8 in the Championship before today. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Swansea win. Stoke City 4, Reading 0. Watford 1, Rotherham United 1, and Wigan 0, Luton Town 2 is a latest score. You're up to date ahead of Sports Report. And here we are with Everton seeing a lot of the ball, but still not creating any chances, James Collins.
Same as the whole game, pretty much, Deno. Whenever they had the ball, we mentioned 66% possession, but most of that's been in their own half or across the halfway line without really doing anything. You've got to say what they have created or got near the West Ham box. The West Ham back three have defended it pretty well, done their job, done what they've had to do, but as chances come, you know, Everton created nothing at all.
Ball now with West Ham, and it's with Downs here in the midfield. I'm told that goal does stand, so Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, and that Sam Surridge goal does indeed stand. And there's been a late goal at Southampton. Jonathan Overend.
Well, we've still got 13 minutes to play, remember, but it is Aston Villa in front, and there's surely no debate about this one. Ollie Watkins heading in from Douglas Luiz's free kick. It's a great header back past the goalkeeper. It's Southampton 0, Aston Villa 1.
Oxford United 2, Ipswich 1. Birmingham have got a goal back at St Andrews. Birmingham City 1, Preston North End 2. And with Southampton, it means that Southampton are back inside the bottom 3 as a cross comes in, and the header is away, and it's with Iwobi. So Everton bottom of the table, Southampton and Bournemouth will be the bottom 3. In fact, no, Southampton will be back bottom, won't they? It's just changed. So Southampton, Everton and Bournemouth are the bottom 3 with that goal for Aston Villa and Ollie Watkins. And as Jonathan says, they've got 13 minutes remaining because of that stoppage in the first half due to a drone. So Everton are coming forward, still looking to try and reduce the arrears in this game here at the London Stadium. But their run in London of late hasn't been good. And indeed, their last win in the capital was here at West Ham United on May the 21st. They're going to be looking at 10 visits to London without a win in the top flight. 3 draws and 7 defeats as they trail by 2 goals to 0. And Southampton's progress after winning their last 3 in all competitions will be checked by that Ollie Watkins goal for Aston Villa, who are on a good run of form, unbeaten in 3 in the Premier League. Iwobi for Everton. Back it goes to Mina, inside towards Davis. Davis now with the low ball in, headed away by Ogbonna. They've defended well, West Ham.
I was just going to say then, Ogbonna in particular in the middle, like say he's had his injury problems. You know, the last couple of seasons, he's come back in and been really solid in the middle of the back 3. You know, Zuma and Agard have equally been as good as well, but I think Ogbonna, with his experience in such a big game, you know, he's done everything right as a defender. It's quite easy, you know, to get sloppy and not quite get your clearances right or your headers and cause a little bit of confusion or pressure coming on you. But everything he's done, like I said, his clearances, his heading, he's done really well, and his passes out from the back have been nice and crisp. So yeah, Angelo Ogbonna been excellent today.
Well, Everton have had more wins, more points and more goals against West Ham than any other side in the Premier League. However, today they've drawn a blank and they remain deep in trouble. There's been a goal at Leicester City. Pat Murphy.
Equaliser for Brighton. Magnificent header from Evan Ferguson. Glancing header 3 minutes ago. They deserve it. Leicester 2, Brighton 2.
Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 1, West Ham United leading by 2 goals to 0. Out it goes towards McNeil on that far side, the left. McNeil trying to get past Sofal. Sofal though stands tall, stands up towards him, and as the cross comes in, it will bounce into the arms of Fabianski. West Ham United, you have to go back to the mid-80s for the last time that they won successive home games against Everton. John Lyall was the manager in 85 and 86. But here, they're going to see out these 3 points, much to the satisfaction of David Moyes.
Yeah, for sure. David Moyes would be delighted. Such a high pressure game, you know, for the players to come out and play as well as they have and control the game as well as they have. He'd be delighted with it. As I said, both managers under huge pressure, talking the press before the games of the both managers, you know, jobs on the line, and David Moyes would be delighted. You know, going into that dressing room, the lads have really done him proud here. A lot of courage, getting on the ball and really showing intent to go out and beat this Everton team, who I've got to say I've been particularly poor today.
Certainly West Ham will be far from safe. They'll only be a point outside the bottom 3, but they will be out of the relegation zone tonight, leading by 2-0. Bournemouth, being pegged back, will slip into the bottom 3. 6 straight defeats may have ended, but still Bournemouth struggling for points. That was a key game for them today at home to a Nottingham Forest side that are picking up points and are being very, very hard to beat. A minimum of 3 minutes that we're now into. Motherwell have got a second goal at Arbroath in the Scottish Cup. The cross is swung over from the other left. Johnson didn't deal with it. Iwobi towards Damari Gray for the all-yellow of Everton. Back out it goes to the right-hand side towards Iwobi. Sends over the cross now. There was the header away by Souček, edge of the area. Everton try and win the ball back. Ings doesn't clear. And the ball will go behind for an Everton corner kick.
From West Ham now. Very, very sloppy. Like I say, they've been comfortable these last 10-15 minutes. You know, it could have got a little bit nervy, but they've been comfortable. But they're on the edge of their own box, getting a little bit sloppy. Souček and Flynn down, sort of getting in each other's way, and I think Souček's actually kicked out for a corner to Everton. So this is vital for West Ham that they defend this right.
So it's going to be an Everton corner kick, but we're into 3 minutes of added on time. It's going to have to be an extremely dramatic finish for Everton to salvage anything from it. In comes the corner from McNeil. They just haven't looked like scoring. There's been another goal at Stevenage. Aaron Paul.
Stevenage 3, Leyton Orient 0. This is game over. It is Luke Norris who's danced through on goal, just slipped the ball under Lawrence Vigru. The gap at the top of League 2 is going down to 2 points. Stevenage 3, Leyton Orient 0.
And Rochdale, who are going to finish the day bottom of League 2, are going to finish their game at Hartlepool United 2-0 down, and without 2 players. The second player has been sent off in Sam Graham. And at Rugby Park in the Scottish Cup, Kilmarnock have got an injury time goal to lead Dumbarton by 1-0. Sports Report with Mark Chapman coming up. 5 Live and the World Service here. We'll bring you as much live reaction as we can from the Premier League, where it's Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Leicester 2, Brighton 2, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 1. They're about 10 minutes behind us, but West Ham United are leading Everton by 2-0. It's a result that will take them out of the relegation zone with 60 seconds remaining of normal time. And as you touched upon, James Collins, a deserved win for West Ham.
Yeah, it has been, Dano. Like I said, this Everton have showed nothing really, nothing you could note that has warranted them to be in this game. West Ham have scored the goals. They had a little spell in the first half, Everton, where they were trying to get forward, but again, it was all possession, not really going anywhere. You know, the position Everton are in, possession's no good to you. You need to be winning football games, you need to be getting the ball forward and scoring goals, and like I said, they've done nothing really to be in part of this game. David Moyes is going to be absolutely delighted with this West Ham team. Big pressure game coming to it, and the players he selected to start have performed, and like I said, deserved 3 points for West Ham.
And the Everton fans have remained, and there are a few empty pockets in that travelling support, strong travelling support, loyal travelling support from Everton, with chants of sack the board, and the board were here today, including Farhad Moshiri. But there is the final whistle. It's a huge win for West Ham United, but Everton remain a club in turmoil and trouble. It's 10 without a win in all competitions. 2 goals from Jared Bowen. West Ham United 2, Everton 0. The thoughts of James Collins?
Yeah, deserved win from West Ham, as I spoke about a lot. High pressure game for both clubs. Both managers really under pressure from their fans, and talk of them, you know, maybe being sacked. But David Moyes should be really proud of these West Ham fans. You can see them on the pitch celebrating. They played extremely well for their manager today, and a deserved win for Everton. You know, Deno, you've got to be worried. Like I said, not just for today, where they've shown next to nothing going forward. The players look dejected on the pitch after the game. Looking at the next 2 games, it's going to be awfully hard for Frank Lampard to turn this round.
However, it's the supporters who are turning their frustration at the board. There are a number again of banners that have been raised in the Everton support. Sack the board, this is our club, not yours, time to go. Those protests will continue, but on the pitch, West Ham United 2, Everton 0.
And I just wonder, Ian, as I see pictures on my monitor of those banners, you know, I've got one at the moment, millions of pounds thrown down the drain, not a trophy in sight. Jordan Pickford talking to Declan Rice in the middle of the field now. The Everton players of Frank Lampard, have they gone over to those supporters?
Not at the moment, no, they haven't. Frank Lampard might just do that now. He's been consoling his players, and in fact he just looks around and a number of the Everton players have actually just gone straight down the tunnel. But Frank Lampard is actually saying to maybe half a dozen who've remained on the pitch, come over and acknowledge the support. But these are really worrying times for Everton. I mean, Farhad Moshiri has spent something like £583 million on Everton, and one of the banners says no communication, no plan, no vision. The amount of money that has been spent is eye-watering, and yet the downfall of the club will trouble every Evertonian.
Yeah, that's not a good look there. You know, you're looking down on the pitch.
There's
I know
4 of them, isn't there? I think
exactly.
4 of the players.
There's 5.
Wow.
Chap, as if I was an Everton fan, or the owners, or the manager looking at that, 4 Everton players have gone over to these travelling fans.
And Lampard.
Who have supported them. You know, it wasn't great today, but they've supported them throughout the game. They're showing their frustrations now against the board. But if I was a fan looking at that, players just walking down the tunnel, not even clapping the fans or going over or showing anything towards those fans, like you say, 3 or 4 of them, for me, that is a really, really worrying sight for that football club.
Cody, Calvert-Lewin, Tarkowski, McNeil, Pickford, and in fact I think Mykolenko was another one. He was substituted. Mykolenko also had gone over.
All right, thank you. Reaction to come from the London Stadium. Shrewsbury got a 5th, by the way, at home to Cambridge. Luke Lee has got that, so that's 2 for the afternoon for him, and they lead by 5 goals to 1.